Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to At Lafayette Live here on Monday, November 17th, 2025. Hope your week is off to a great start. Thanks, everybody, for joining us here on a Monday evening. It means so much to me that you join us every week here on At Lafayette Live on the Lafayette Reel. Hope you enjoyed your Monday. We got lots to talk about here, as we often always do on At Lafayette Live. Lots of things going on here in the area, some fun things to talk about, some development news, some home tours. But before we do get started, as always, where are you watching from? We always like to find out in the chat where people are watching from. Got some local friends and watchers here in the Greater Lafayette area. Are you in Lafayette or West Lafayette in Tippecanoe County? I know we got some expats who live in a little warmer area. We had a little brief blast of fall again before we start heading into winter, well, more wintry weather. I don't love the cold weather, but alas, I live in the Greater Lafayette area where we have winter, whether I like it or not. But some expats who live in little warmer climes. Got some regular viewers from Southern California, Florida, Texas, Louisiana. Drop it in the chat where you're watching from. Have you watched before? Are you subscribed? The YouTube stats show that quite a few of you are not subscribed, so maybe you think you are, maybe you're not. Either way, before we get started, hit the like and subscribe button. And if you've never watched before, you're like, who the heck is this guy? I'm Jeff Gooch with the Russell Company, powered by At Properties. I'm a realtor here in the Greater Lafayette area. I'd love to help you find home here in the Lafayette area, help you buy and sell, but really love living here. I love all the cool things going on. So that's what we're here to talk about on a Monday evening together. So if you want to get a hold of me, there's all my contact information right there. Text me. If you're watching on a larger screen, if you're watching on your computer or on your TV, you can scan that QR code there, and it'll load up information to get a hold of me. So, but let's jump in. Lots of cool things. Lots of cool things happening. I guess I probably wouldn't consider this first one to be a cool thing. The state legislature passed a bill that some might say reformed, but certainly has changed school funding and how property taxes map onto that. And most importantly for West Lafayette, don't transfer with transfer students. And West Lafayette is having to deal with the fallout of this. They are a smaller school corporation that is known for having high scores. They're rated highly amongst all the amongst all the people that are out there, rating schools, giving them A+s and number one top school for this and that sort of thing. And they really have that reputation for it. And it is one because of I think the love of West Lafayette for their schools and valuing the education that they provide. But because West Lafayette is landlocked as far as school corporation borders are concerned, they don't have a giant tax base to tap as far as sheer numbers of people. Now, there might be some higher income earners, although we're not talking about income, we're talking about property tax here. But, along with higher property values comes higher earners, so those things do kind of have some correlation to each other at least. Really been known for academic excellence and some extracurricular excellence as well. But they are no longer able to get the money that comes along with transfer students, and they have, I believe it's a couple hundred, maybe it's in the hundreds, maybe slightly less than 200 transfer students from Tippecanoe School Corporation. And they're not able to collect that money anymore because the state legislature changed the law around that in this last session. So they have begun the process of thinking about what that's going to look like in the future, and they brought in a consultant to a work session that was very, very well attended by by their constituents to talk about the possibility. And their financial advisor and these consultants, said they didn't lay out like exact plans of what they will have to do, but they talked about the shortfalls that are going to happen. They're going to lose more than $1 million in the next half decade or so through about 2031. They'll drop from 8.7 million to $7.2 million at the current tax referendum level, and that does not account for inflation over that time. So it's really more than that $1.5 million drop. So they're looking at future referendum and going back to their constituents and to the taxpayers and saying, if you want to fund your schools, this is how we're going to have to do it. They're looking at transfer students and do we keep them? Do we get rid of them because of the finances? But part of that plays into that is also there's a certain mass that's needed for some critical mass that's needed for some of these programs to exist. And again, without the number of students that are from these transfer student pool, perhaps they're going to lose some programs, some classes, some teachers, some extracurriculars. So there's a dark side and a light side to all the choices. One of the options that was floated in this meeting was a new strategy for a referendum that would set a maximum referendum price isn't maximum referendum level, tax level, and that the district then would only use what is needed on a year-by-year basis. So it might be that they might come in a little less this particular year as opposed to the next year sort of thing, but they wouldn't have to go for another referendum to go, we were wrong, so let's kind of project our best case versus worst case scenario. I don't want to get into the details of the spreadsheet about, this percentage level and this year and all of that. That's not what this is about, but rather just to say that West Lafayette has been a bastion of excellence in education through most anybody's eyes that you would ask, and they are now having to wrestle with the reality of funding changes from the State House here in Indiana. And for better or worse, that is definitely affecting education statewide as local school boards grapple with how to deal with that, and it's affecting us right here in our community. So if you've got kids that you want to get into the West Lafayette School Corporation, what that education exactly is going to look like in a few years, we don't know. I would imagine they're going to come up with solutions that continue to show excellence in education that they've always had, but they're going to have to figure that out. But will you be able to get into the West Lafayette School Corporation if you're not within the West Lafayette School Corporation boundaries? It's possible not. So that might drive your housing decisions. You might need to live in the district as opposed to being a transfer student. And I know some people that are really kind of wrestling with this question right now that, where are they at now versus where are they going to be at in just a year or two or three? And will those choices be available to them? And the answer is we just don't know right now. Right now, yes, but what's going to look in a few years? So pay attention. A lot more to come on that. If you live in West Lafayette and you want to have your say, you should go to the school board meetings. You should call up your local school board members and let them know. And if you want to stay up to date on what's going on with that, hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll keep you up to date on what's going on here in the West Lafayette School Corporation and indeed all of Greater Lafayette here every Monday on At Lafayette Live. So I wouldn't qualify that as cool news this week for sure, but it is definitely an important topic to talk about, and we'll be talking about it a lot more. And if you do want to live in the West Lafayette School Corporation, or you're in the West Lafayette School Corporation right now and you need to sell, go to the LafayetteReal.com/YouTube and let's work together on finding your home here in West Lafayette or Lafayette, Tippecanoe County, Greater Lafayette, LafayetteReal.com/YouTube. Next up, we're going to talk about we are going from a dearth of hospitals to a plethora of hospitals in West Lafayette. We've covered the announcements of multiple hospitals coming to the area, not necessarily in this order, but St. Vincent announced years ago that they were going to build a hospital around the Discovery Park Airport area of Purdue University. Nothing has yet come of that, but that's bubbled back up in the last year. IU Arnett has said that they are building a hospital, a small hospital in West Lafayette. Not to be outdone, St. Francis threw in there a lot as well. And then number 4 was Parkview Health, a new player to the market here in the Greater Lafayette area. They are a Fort Wayne-based hospital system. And we've talked about the fact that they are coming. But the reason that I wanted to talk about that a little bit tonight is that they offered an overview in the last week of their site plans and what things are going to look like. So first things first, here are some renderings of what the hospital is going to look like. And this is really not the focus of this piece, but this is the first renderings. I mean, looks like a modern hospital, right? You know, brick and glass, nothing shocking there. They've talked a little bit more. It's going to cost $200 million, be about 130,000 square feet. They'll have 40 inpatient beds. They will have space for additional room as the market grows. There will be 4 operating rooms, an emergency room, and a 40,000 square foot medical office building. They're going to ask for that rezone in January, and then mostly from Area Plan Commission, and then West Lafayette City Council would approve that if approved by Area Plan in February, with groundbreaking in mid 2026 and summer of 26. And so that was the announcement. They've announced that they're going to have around 200 full-time positions. But what I wanted to talk about was the why they're here. You know, there's been a lot of push, you know, out there on social media, and let's admit it, we all live on social media a lot more than we probably should, and is really healthy for us, but it's really kind of become, you know, the modern Times Square here in the year 2025. And some of the comments I've heard is like, wait till some of these developers get wind of what is coming. That specifically, and I'm going to say it, you know, that SK Hynix is coming. They're going to run scared. But my position has always been it's quite the opposite of that. All of this development is coming to West Lafayette, indeed, because of SK Hynix. And Parkview Health spokesman on the record said, "I don't mind telling you this, that the SK Hynix project and the economic development around Calbera and the Crossroads were a big factor in us choosing that location that we're in. We want to be where the activity is. There's a lot of rooftops in the area, so we did not view the SK Hynix project as a negative, but quite the opposite, as a positive in terms of choosing this location." So what I really wanted to highlight here, in addition to the fact that they've announced a little more about the site plans and when it's going to break ground and all the things that are coming, is just to kind of push back a little bit. And I don't want to get into an argument with people on social media. And indeed, if you go check out all my social media profiles, go check me out on Facebook and Instagram and here on YouTube. I don't engage in spats. It's informational or it's funny. It's kind of like nowhere in between for me. But just to hear people comment about all the development in the area and the fact that SK Hynix is bad and they're going to scare everybody off. No, all this development is coming to the area because of SK Hynix, and indeed because of all the other development that has come to the area and will continue to come to the area. You know, some of it Purdue supported, certainly Purdue related. You know, we got GE and Rolls-Royce. GE being on the south side, not a great example for this particular use case. Sorry, but Schweitzer Labs, Saab with their jets, parts of jets that they're building here in West Lafayette, and there's more to come. There's more that will come. Some bubbling away in the background right now, and you know, there's just always more development that's going to come. And that's why this development is coming. That is why Parkview Health perked up and said, "What? Wait, there's money to be made here." And yes, we can talk about hospitals and healthcare and insurance and billing practices and how much more efficient Medicare might be than insurance. And is Parkview the best have the best billing practices in the world. Again, like, go down a dark rabbit hole on social media and form your own opinions. That's not what we're going to talk about here and now. I think we can all say pretty easily that our healthcare system could be better. But in the reality that we live in the Greater Lafayette area, this is another hospital coming to an area that doesn't have it. And on top of that, there's Millbrook, the development of almost 1,000 doors, somewhere around 1,000 doors between single family and townhouse, that's coming in this same area. That some of that pushback is, oh, and that developer gets wind of what's coming, they're gonna no. That development is going exactly where it's at because of SK Hynix and because of all this other development. So I get that there's some passionate feelings about this on both sides, for and against. But we have 4 hospitals coming to West Lafayette. Parkview Health from Fort Wayne has booked a date to go before Area Plan Commission in January. They'll be approved by February if everything goes according to plan, and they'll be breaking ground next July. So that was kind of a cool thing, but I just really wanted to just continue to talk about like all the cool things that are coming to the area, and like West Lafayette specifically. If you've been around Lafayette at all for any number of years and you've driven around the south side, think back to what it looked like 20 years ago. There were some strip malls out there, but think back to what it looked like even 10 years before that, and 10 years before that. It was a 2-lane country road, and now it's essentially another city center for the Greater Lafayette area. I mean, it's as much city center as 26 is, or the retail area of West Lafayette down there on Veterans Memorial Parkway, 350 South. That's kind of what's happening here. This is going to be another center of economic activity. We're getting a lot of new houses. We're getting hospitals. We're going to get some retail. It'd be nice if we can get some cultural items to come behind that. If you happen to know of anybody that wants to throw some money at some theaters and other recreational opportunities, that would be fantastic. But I think if you come to West Lafayette in 10 years, specifically the north area of West Lafayette, kind of between 500, kind of like a mile or two south and north of like 500 South, it's not going to look anything like what it looks like today. And you can say that about development for so many areas, but the south side has been the hotspot of development, and really in many ways continues to be. And I think that we'll see some new development down there before too long. But West Lafayette is really coming into its own. Maybe not the right phrase. I mean, West Lafayette has always been its own, but like about to kick things into a new gear with that development. We got 2 fun things to talk about, but before you do that, one of the fun things is go to the LafayetteReal.com/YouTube and fill out the form, and let's go look at some fun houses here in the Greater Lafayette area. Or if you've got one to sell, let me help you with that. And then if you need to relocate somewhere else, I can hook you up with one of the great people in our network anywhere here around the country, or indeed around the world. But one of the fun things I want to talk about, we have a treasure of a zoo here in the Greater Lafayette area. Lafayette has the Columbian Park Zoo, the eponymous zoo at Columbian Park. It is really a really fantastic, cool little place. Now, it is not, a big city zoo. It's not even the Indianapolis Zoo, the Bronx Zoo, not that sort of thing. And nobody's saying that it is. But for a small city zoo in a public park, it's really kind of a cool place to go visit. They got a bald eagle and wallabies, and I have to bring my youngest son in here. He could run off the inventory of all the animals that they have there. But the reason I bring that up is they have an event coming up here in a couple of weeks called Reindeer Rendezvous with the Zoo, and this is going to be on Saturday, December 6th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You're going to be able to take pictures with Santa and meet his reindeer before they head back to the North Pole between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Stay away from Comet. He's crazy. he comes into our house every year and makes a mess. You can pick out a ticketed time frame to get your pictures, and you can hang out and enjoy all the fun activities. You're going to have cookies, holiday craft stations, some animal artifacts. Have their zoo education department's going to be set up. Photo with Santa and his sleigh will be available for pictures. You'll be able to your kids can write letters to Santa so that he can take them back to the North Pole, so you can skip the step of getting them into the mailbox. And weather permitting, the Columbian Park Polar Express train will be running, as well as getting some hot chocolate. Tickets in advance are $8 online. You can get them at the gate at $10, but once they reach capacity, you won't be able to get in. But you can book 8 time slots starting. A first time slot starts at 9 a.m. and the last time slot starts at 4 p.m. That's Saturday, December 6th at Columbian Park in the middle of Lafayette. I think that's a great, fun way to spend a Saturday in December. Go get your pictures with Santa, take your kids, enjoy some cookies, have a good time, and hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss a minute of all the content here. And if you do, then I can tell Santa that you've been nice and not naughty. A bit of exciting news. If you've never been to the West Lafayette Public Library, it really is a treasure, a jewel. It's everything that you want in a library. They have a deep collection. They have a library of things. They have a fantastic music collection. Their kids department is just second to none. But they've just renamed or named the building after their emeritus director, Nick Schenkel. And if you've ever listened to WBAA, you've probably heard some of Nick's book reviews on WBAA. He's a really great guy who had a vision and did a great job of rallying the community around this fantastic library in West Lafayette. And now the building bears his name. It is the E. Nicholas Schenkel Building of the West Lafayette Public Library. So I would say, Nick, enjoy your retirement, but right now Nick is sitting on the West Lafayette City Council, so I'm not sure if that's more work or less work than at the library, but we thank you for your passion for the City Council, but we really, really thank you for your passionate support of our local library here. So congratulations, Nick, the E. Nicholas Schenkel Building of the West Lafayette Public Library. Next up, you're going to go to the LafayetteReal.com/YouTube and fill out the form so that we can figure out how to buy and sell your home here in the Greater Lafayette area. Because now we're going to take a tour of some homes here in the Greater Lafayette area. And this week's theme, if you've watched the show at all, when we do home tours, I tend to do home tours with some sort of theme. There's something that ties the room together, as it were. And tonight's theme is homes with acreage. They're fairly varied in other features, but there was something unique about each of them, and you'll see, what that unique thing is. But we're going to start here on the Lafayette side of the river at 302 North 1025 East. We're going to load this up on the map as we always do to show you where it's at. And this is just a little east of town. Here is State Street 26, and we'll just keep zooming out. This is the Wildcat down here. Just a little to the east of West Lafayette. Here you go. So here's the home. Here's exit 172, where I-65 and Indiana 26 meet. That's a roughly, let's see, 550. So that's 4 miles. It's a 5 to 7 minute drive from the home to the intersection. So easily accessible to most things. Because if you can make it there, then at that point you got shortcuts to get most anywhere in town, so that's where it's at. But let's go on a tour. 302 North, 1025 East in Lafayette, just a little east of Lafayette. 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, 2,342 square feet on 4.65 acres. And as I said, tonight's tours all are tied together with land, with acreage. And we'll see that this one has the lovely wraparound porch, kind of farmhouse style. The porch roof indeed is newer, has the newer metal roof on it. Still asphalt shingles up on the main roof, but this is just your stereotypical go sit out and rock on the porch kind of farmhouse look. You have the 2-car garage. And at 2,300 square feet on the inside, plenty of room, but it's got this barn on it. And this is one of the unique things that drew me to this, is it's not super expensive. I mean, land ain't free and land ain't cheap. It's not the newest, modern pole barn. It is definitely, an older mid-century, metal corrugated barn. But you have one where you can store your tractor or your other toys. You got that beautiful oak tree there, and there is the property line. So 4.65 acres total. It does indeed reach out into that farm field. I think they've got that leased as part of the farm. So you'll probably get a little bit of revenue from that. You could pull it back in to your own development if you wanted to. But you do have a little bit of a tree line. And we'll get into the house here in just a second. Lovely, updated, renovated on the inside. And there's always a little bit of a balance on these that have been fixed up. You don't want it to feel like a cheap fix and flip, but you also don't want to put so much into it that it just makes it so unaffordably expensive. And I think they've kind of struck a good balance here. I mean, updated LED fixtures in the ceiling. You got the nice plank floor that doesn't just look like the cheap vinyl. I don't love the color palette, but that's easy enough to change. I tell my clients that all of the time. You got that big room that's probably been opened up over the years. You got this big beam that's separated, but really airy feeling in there. Love the eat-in kitchen with a island that is big but not gigantic. It feels in scale with the house. The farmhouse style sink could go with a little more cabinet space. You got your dining room here, lots of light, and that's fairly typical for this age of home. This was built in 1901, so it is indeed a century house, but I mean, you would not know that from, looking inside by any means. Got a laundry space that requires a stackable. I know. If we move into the half bath, that is the world's tiniest sink. Then we start moving into the bedroom. Certainly not quite as interesting as the rest of the house, but the primary suite with the primary bath, and you got the dual basin sink, and it's nice and modern, but it's not over the top. Now if you want luxury and you want a giant bathroom with all of the fixtures and fittings and the rain shower and the soaking tub, I get it, but sometimes it feels like that's just taking up a whole lot of space, and that's not here. We go upstairs and we can see the slightly unfortunate positioning of the toilet there. Lots and lots of room upstairs. Like I said, 4 bedrooms and 3 baths in this home. You don't lack for space, and some larger bedrooms, because this is indeed an older home, and with the hipped roofs, it's got that cozy feeling without feeling cramped, if you will. Work the hipped roof into the shower there. Don't particularly love that. And like I said, the older mid-century barn out there, but nicely done. Here we can see the layout where come into the living room up front here with the stairs up. We have the dining and kitchen in the middle, and then the primary is on the main floor. And then indeed you go upstairs and you have the 3 bedrooms and the bath up there. So there you go. That is 302 North, 1025 East in Lafayette. Indeed, just a few minutes east of Lafayette. 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, 2,342 square feet. No lack of space. Nicely updated, I think, on the inside. You get 4.65 acres of land to call your own, and it's currently priced at $499,900, so $500,000. You might say, "Oh my goodness, Jeff, that is a lot of money. It's $500,000." Yes, it is. But it's almost 5 acres, four and 2/3 acres, and 2,300 square feet. So if you want to go check that one out, go to the LafayetteReal.com/YouTube, fill out the form, and let's go check out a really cool house together. And then we're going to move on our tour of homes with acreage tonight. And again, that's the theme that ties these homes together. There's not a lot of other things that tie them together. They are all rather unique other than that. But we're going to look at this one next. This is 4231 Black Forest Lane. This is on the West Lafayette side of the river, and as you can tell, it's got some more unique architecture. This one was built in 1981, so about 44 years old, so about half a century newer than the last one that we looked at. Has 5 acres on this one. Let's look at it on the map. Like I said, on the West Lafayette side of the river. And this is in a neighborhood, if you will, that's kind of full of similar sized houses and lots, but definitely one of the more unique homes here in the area. And this is 400 West. This is Lindbergh Road, and 26, which is the main road that runs through Purdue University. Well, it's State Street through Purdue University. It angles to the northeast, to the northwest, and then hits Lindbergh up here. It's just a little bit out. These Point West apartments are really, in some ways, almost like Purdue. They're not Purdue apartments, but you do see some Purdue grad students and stuff living there. But here we go. So, a 2-minute jaunt down 400, and then straight across Lindbergh, or even better, hit the diagonal down 26 to State Street, and you're into Purdue University. That's an 8-minute drive tops. Or head north up to 52 over here. This is a 6-minute drive to Meyer and Menards and everything. So you get 5 acres. You get a really unique feel, but you're still really close to town. So we're going to go take a tour. 4231 Black Forest Lane in West Lafayette, just a little west of West Lafayette. 4 bedrooms, 4 baths, 3,028 square feet on 5.05 acres. And again, a little more unique architecture than some homes. You definitely get that wooded feel as you drive up, but check it out. When in the side profile, it's almost, I was going to say modified A-frame. Definitely, in a contemporary style, of contemporary kind of meets country with the siding and the finishes and the brick chimney. But when you get 5 acres, you get some lovely wooded acres. Look at that! Look at the boardwalk coming off of your porch, heading out into the trees and woods of your 5 acres. And then look at that window wall on the there. I always kind of make fun of modern homes and McMansions about who's going to clean your windows, and this one, it's absolutely true. You're going to have to hire somebody to clean all of those windows, but man, the amount of light that lets in. And then we move inside, and you can kind of start to see how this unique space flows, and you can see the kitchen with the attached dining room, and we're here in the living room with the wood stove on it. I like the little lookout windows that pop open there. My wife would love this, the bookshelf with the ladder built in. Interesting choice of where to put a closet. I'm guessing the closet preceded the fireplace. Mirrors, of course, make the place feel bigger. So it's not out of date and it's not up to date either. It feels of the right time, if that makes sense, without feeling old. Could it use some touch-ups? Oh yeah, for sure. But it's here's the window wall, and it's actually like a separate airlock almost. Lets you uh, you actually can hang on to some thermal energy with this, and provides extra insulation out to the rest of the house. Lets you close all of those windows. Also requires a whole lot of Windex. Going to move out past the living room into the dining room with the banquette pass through to the kitchen. It's one of the more interesting pass-throughs that I've seen. The kitchen, when I say that, like, it's like of a period, you definitely feel that in the kitchen. Needs a little bit of updating if that's your thing. It's not everybody's thing, but definitely feels of a period. That overlook from the second floor into the first floor, fairly typical for this period of house. But you can see how that window wall lets all of the light in. You got the built-ins in that area, so it is an office/library. Now, if you're doing a bunch of Zoom meetings, doesn't, give you a whole lot of privacy, but you can see that, this area that faces the window wall is all about letting the light in. We start moving into the bedroom areas. You can see there's the other side of the opening to let more light in, make the house feel connected, and out to the deck out back there. Again, you feel like you're in your own little forest oasis there. Gonna zip through all the bedrooms. You don't get to count all of this square footage. I forget exactly where the square footage cuts off, but once the ceiling gets so low, you don't get to count it anymore. So it's going to be somewhere along the midpoint of this room counts towards total square footage. Bathroom, ceilings feel a little bit dated. Yep, it's exactly what you think it is. Presented without comment, other than the space station shower stall. I love those. I don't love them. That's very, very tongue-in-cheek. So coming to the end here, you got the screened-in gazebo out in the woods. Oh, hi. Did I see you? Almost looks like two eyes and a nose there. Almost looks like Jabba the Hutt coming up over the ridge. Here's the layout. So main floor, you got the screened porch with the window wall, the living room, dining, kitchen, with one bedroom, with the primary bedroom, here on the main floor. And then the gigantic garage. And then we hop over to the upstairs, and we got bedroom, 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 all these bedrooms upstairs, and the balcony. But that is a very, very unique home. That is 4231 Black Forest Lane in West Lafayette. 4 bedrooms, 4 baths, 3,028 square feet, 5.05 acres, so 5 acres. Currently listed at $649,000. Go to thelafayettereal.com/YouTube, fill out the form, and let's work together on going to go check out this beautiful, beautiful home. And then, I went out of order. Not that there's a lot of order to this, but in some ways that was a cool home that maybe should have been saved for the last position. But here we go. We're going to do one more. We're going to look at a newer home. This one's only 7 years old. Was built in 2018. We're going to look at 5170 1075 East in Lafayette. This one, again, comes with almost 5 acres, 4.65 acres in this particular case. Let's put it on the map, and then we'll go take a tour of it. Bring the map up. Here we go. So down here, just a little bit south, here's 500 South. And for those of you that it doesn't mean anything to, we'll zoom out a little bit more. Here's 38. Mulberry is just to your east. You hit 500 South, which turns into Wyandotte Road over here to hit Sagamore Parkway. So just kind of between Dayton and Mulberry, and Lafayette has a Lafayette address, but you get your 4.65 acres with that. I mean, this is a 5-minute zip over here to 52, and from here it's another 5-minute zip up to Veterans Memorial Parkway. So if you're south side oriented, you can do that. It's pretty quick 5-minute zip, and probably more like an 8-minute zip over here to Dayton, and then you can come up and catch the rest of Lafayette. So a little down, in the far corner, but again, almost 5 acres. So you're not going to get that in the middle of town by any means. So this is 5170 South, 1075 East in Lafayette, just a little southeast of Lafayette, down around the Dayton-Mulberry area. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,634 square feet on 4.65 acres, and it was built in 2018, so it is only 7 years old. You got lots of land, but look, this is why it made it in tonight. Look at the pole barn. It is a 40 by 48 foot pole barn, count them, 2 16-foot doors and a 10-foot door. If you need a shop, if you've got hobbies, if you've got a business, you got a house and this pole barn all for one money, sitting on 4.65 acres. And that is indeed why it made it into our tour this evening. And you can see the gravel drive and your neighbors, and you can kind of see the property line there. Again, built in 2018, looks like a 2018 kitchen, modern, not quite galley style, but not galley style. This is a staged photo, TV too high. You've got your prototypical office / game room / music room / study / den just inside the front door. More shots of the kitchen, gas stove out there. This has the modern, mid-century, mid-2010s great room where everybody's kind of in one living space. In my view, that's kind of a downside, but the home is only 1,600 square feet. It's what I would call like a normal size home. It's not giant. It's not tiny, but you do have one living room. I'm gonna zip back and check out. It's got an actual fireplace there with the ventilator, circulator. It's got the fan unit built in. A little bit of a tight fit in the living room with the overstuffed couches, but that's okay. Ignore the deer heads if that's not your thing. It's not my thing. So, definitely a modern house. And again, the reason that this house made it into the tour was because of that pole barn. Like, if you're just looking for a completely normal, functional, modern home, this is it. You can see this layout in so many developments in town, but it comes with 4.5 acres and a giant pole barn. I'm not sure, did the hot tub come with it? I'm not sure if the hot tub comes with it. That pole barn, though, that pole barn is probably bigger than the house on a square footage basis. Not finished, but you can simply, nothing simple about it, but you can pave that. So if you want to put concrete in there, you have to insulate the walls. So but again, 5 acres, 4.65 acres, not quite 5 acres. There's the property line. 5170 South, 1075 East in Lafayette, just a little to the southeast of Lafayette. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,634 square feet on 4.65 acres with the pole barn at 40 foot by 48 foot. 3 doors, 2 of them 16 foot and a 10-foot door. And again, I just can't overemphasize the acreage that you get. Currently priced at a steal, and I'm sorry, this one is a steal just for the land and pole barn alone. Not just for that, but based on the fact that it has that, and you have a modern home that was built in 2018, $425,000. I think that's a pretty good deal. So let's go check that one out together. Go to thelafayettereal.com/YouTube, fill out the form, and let's go check out all of these beautiful homes with acreage here in the Greater Lafayette area. And with that, I say thank you so very, very much for watching here on a Monday evening. It means so much to me that you join me every Monday on At Lafayette Live here on the Lafayette Real. We will be back again 17, 24. Today's the 17th, 24th. I think we'll be back next Monday. I was trying to figure out 24, 28. Next week is Thanksgiving. I don't know if we're going to have a show on Thanksgiving week or not. But you know what? Hit the like and subscribe button, and then you will be the first to know if we're going to have a show on Thanksgiving week. And with that, enjoy your week here in the end of fall in the Greater Lafayette area or wherever you are watching from. Have a great week, and we will see you again soon. Thanks, guys.